Hi, everyone, and welcome back. And with me is Al Lennox. How are you doing, Al? It's
Hi,
good
Tom.
to see you one more time.
Good to see you, Tom.
Okay, and you have a new title and a new hat.
I do. I'm the National Executive Committeeman for the state of California.
That's a pretty big deal, huh?
Well, it is if you're in the veterans community. Right? Yes, it is. I now represent California back at the national organization.
Okay, and the reason why I say that's a great deal is because for anybody close by, and of course anybody in the American Legion, you're, it's nice to have you so close by as a representative.
Sure, and it's a big state, and California only gets one representative, so to have little podunk Amador County have a representative, that's a good thing.
Well, Al, it was just a few years ago, and I forget the title that you had then, but wasn't that the president or something of California?
The state commander.
State commander, right, okay.
Right. I was state commander 2008, 2009,
right.
And since then I've chaired finance for the state, and I ran for National Executive Committee, and at the last convention I won.
Okay, so that's what you do, you run at the National Committee?
That's correct, at the state convention.
Okay.
And the state convention elects the National Executive Committeeman. It's a 2-year term, and if you want to have an equivalent, it's like being senator from the state of California.
Okay.
You sit on the board of directors of the national organization, and you also represent California's interests.
Okay. Well, that's good. Now, where do you meet?
Well, at the national convention every year, that rotates around, and it's pretty much any city in the country, major city. But we have 3 meetings a year back in Indianapolis, which is the headquarters of the American Legion.
Okay.
So we meet in Indianapolis 3 times a year, and I'll have to go to Washington twice a year, Washington, D.C., to represent California in the legislative arena.
Okay, so representing California, do we have any special differences here?
Yes, we do. We're a big state. One, we have some differences in that our National Guard is the most active National Guard in the country.
Okay.
And it's the largest and most active. And who is going to provide services to these folks when they come back? And our Guard members, many of them are on their 2nd, 3rd, 4th tours of duty over in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that we're ready for what their needs will be when they return. And many states don't have that kind of demand placed on them that California does. And so we need to be ready, and we need to make sure that the national organization gives us the tools to do the job.
Al, maybe you can give me an idea. When I was in the service, it was a long time ago, but it seemed like the main branch of the Air Force did quite a lot of the work, and the National Guard didn't seem to me was not as active, certainly not as active as they are today in the formal fighting of wars or anything.
Not the same anymore, Tom. National Guards are utilized.
That's the point.
Absolutely, and we have National Guard troops not only serving on active duty, but they're fighting fires. They're doing border control in Southern California. They are utilized and in major disasters and fire and up and down this state. So we need to make sure that these guys and gals coming home, and their families also, they're the hidden group that needs some services too. The families left behind, and who's going to take care of them?
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that is a great concern. Like I said, the families that are left behind. I know from what I've heard, if you're in the service, there's no tighter organization to belong to. Everybody's looking out for everybody on base, off base. Mm-hmm. But once maybe you lose that active member of your family, and you're no longer living on base, and you no longer have that support group that you're used to have,
right,
with that tight family of the unit that you were with.
Sure.
That must be hard.
Spouses, children of
right,
active duty service people. A lot, and in this day and age, a lot of the mothers are going on active duty.
Right.
And they're being now. Who's going to do daycare? Who's going to allow the other spouse to go to work? And just generally, what kind of needs they have, and then if they're disabled, who's going to take care of them after the fact? Lots of questions, and we have answers for them, but we need to make sure that California, being as active as it is, and as big a state as it is, gets its share of the resources that are available. Sometimes those little eastern states don't want to part with anything. Well, you know what? Let's take care of California.
Okay, certainly you want to serve, you know, all of the members, and like you said, we have quite a few. And another thing, it seems like it would be, you know, different when we were in. Maybe the National Guard was a place that officers and things, when they were retired out, would join the Guard unit, or people maybe would get out of the active duty after putting in a lot of time and then join the Guard. Now, a lot of people start off with the Guard and retire from the Guard.
That's correct. It is a career now, whereas before, many years ago, it seems to have morphed into being utilized so much and so much in demand that it has actually become a full-time career now, the National Guard in California. Okay. So something that wasn't 30, 40 years ago when we were in. As a matter of fact, 40 years ago when we were in.
Okay. Okay, so we've got some concerns there. How are they being addressed now?
Well, the national organization, we provide, you know, the American Legion was based on 4 pillars. Americanism, children and youth, making sure we set an example in our communities for our children and youth. National security, huge issue today, yes, especially with budget cuts. Is our national security being jeopardized? And then VA&R, Veterans Administration and Rehabilitation, taking care of veterans and their families. There's no better organization, in my opinion, than the American Legion to do that. We're very active across the country, and we're also very active back in Washington. And I go back, Floyd Martin, the County Veteran Service Officer, and I go back every year. We meet with our senators, we meet with the key Congress people, and we advocate for veterans' rights and veterans' concerns. And I will continue to do that as National Executive Committeeman.
Okay, we have about a minute left. Is there any thing that's pressing right at this moment on our national leaders that maybe we should make them aware of, that where we would like them to?
Well, I think national security right now is a key issue. We are, with this austere economy, budget cuts have to be made. We understand that. But we have to evaluate what those cuts are going to be and just how they're going to impact the national security of the United States of America. And some of the cuts that are being introduced back there right now and being discussed are certainly of great concern to the American Legion and to California veterans. California has always been the world leader and always been a superpower, if you will. We want to make sure we always stay that way.
Okay, Al. It's nice of you to come by and
thank you, Tom.
And
Appreciate
talk to us, give us an
good,
update.
Good to be
We'll
here.
have you back on and find out more, okay?
You betcha.
All right. Stay with us. There's more coming up on TSPN.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.